Alright, Chapter 11, Steel Bridge Maintenance, Repair, and Upgrades. Section 1, prevent the maintenance for the corrosion, general the rush corrosion for the greatest enemy of the shield of the rough, as well as the graph of the interruption of the next couple of disintegration, subsequently, complete loss of the strength of the bridge. Remember the corrosion, also cover the other problems, for the pressure of the friction, become the strength of the structural steel of the prevent, and maybe the steel bridge component of the considerable mainly pressure, measures protect the steel of the corrosion preservation of the steel and all the protection exposure to the electrolyte, the depth of the water, solve of the icing, solve is off the electrolyte. There's dramatic increase of the rate of the corrosion of the structural steel of the corrosion, easily spotted visual inspection protection from the corrosion can take the various forms, weathering steel, the special type of the steel, the only protect the corrosion theoretically does not need the painting, however, the many of the shape of the highway department the identically with the performance, so if they are prejudice the constructed within this type of the steel. There's member of the construction of the weather shield, there should be minor of the except for the corrosion paint, but the type of the paint with requirements of the base of the weather shield of the to be repainted. Following step are usually necessary with new steel. One primary coat applied with the shop, the one primary coat applied with the field, with the two color coats applied with the field, with the repainting depending on the condition of the existing paint. If cleaned to the bare metal, one with the primer, the two color coat, if cleaned with the primary coat, the two color coat, no primary issue with the one color coat. The paint seal with the intersection of the edge of the metal surface with the particle of the growth of the paint seal with the pass of the paste paint that prevent the moisture of the preparation between the metal of the parts. Note, when they're removing the lead-based paint with the cover must be taken to protect against lead inhalation ingestion. Pollution schedule field painting of the end of the paint of the projector to avoid damage of the freshing paint, but separately cleaning of the painting of the operation with the contamination from the fresh paint, protected cleaning of the unit until the paint can be applied with the paint of the dry surface that is not too hot, but ensure the good bond does not blister to the aim of the temperature of the greater than 40 degrees Fahrenheit relative to the humidity less than 85%. The cathodic protection, zinc and aluminum anodes that attach to the H-pipe with the corrosion seal with the salt with the brackish water. The small zinc with the anodes are even less than 8 linear feet of piles exposed. Large zinc with aluminum anodes are even the greater than 8 feet length of the piles exposed. For good furnishing housekeeping steps are to keep the drains open with the remove the tank with the weight or water from the seal forces. To keep the deck joined with water free water tight to prevent water leakage down the seal. Remember to keep the exposed area with the pressure washing. Spot paint, repaint the necessary maintain. Steel cable to remove the foreign object with the cable support system. Clean lubricating cable support with the tightening and replacing strip with the replacing cable wrapping. Section 2, repairing and strengthening. 11.3 of the general. The repair decision with each of the repair decision must be carefully weighed with the long term of the operational requirement existing with the environmental condition that help the accelerate the corrosion preventing prior to the evaluating initial life cost cycle of the physical condition of the structure must be first determined by a detailed inspection. Structural capacity of the steel should be known, with the physical condition of the bridge is elevated with the determination of I'm sure the H pile frame is 5 16 by 2 inch piles with the dry screw with the K for the harding point. J, the 75 coated clamp, the 1/4 inch threaded with 1/4 inch wide, the 2 inch by zinc anode length with various weight. And it shows the steel H pile with jacket anodes, concrete jacket anodes, concrete cap. Where the damage of the bridge components should be repaired with the replace the made with the common repair with the most common steel. There's or adding metal with the strength of the cross section, have them reduce the corrosion external forces. Welding, adding the cover the plate, the repair structural crack, steel cracks, cover the fatigue of the vehicle, loads, retrofitting of the connection rule, the rules of adding steel with the steel. Remember the strength of the care with the specified load permissible steel. Stresses additional material that must comply with the load shred design, strip with the properly analyzed design, repair with the involving adding the metal with the flowing the rules are applied. Metal, adding the string of the floor beams, curve the effect of the carrying of the portion of the live loads, not metal with the add with the truss and bait out for the etc. with the the effect of the carrying of the portion of the live load. Only the exemption when the dead load is stripped with the temporarily remove these. Remember that the new metal is applied with the dead load, stripped is applied with the new metal when it is applied. The added material should be applied with the produce the balance section with eliminated and minimize the effect of the eccentricity of the string of the balance section cannot be obtained with economically eccentrically. With the member should be taken into account with the determining strength of the string of the member that must be investable with the degree of the strength of the result of the temporary removal of the rivet to cover the place or other part of the some case if the falls work temporary member may be required. When compression member of the may be being reinforced, lacing of the bar with the tie plate should be played before allowing the traffic over the bridge. 11.4 with connection with the primary connection involving you with the weld with the bolts riveted with the how with the pin connection together and thread fastening you with the common intention. Remember the weld with the electrical arc welding may be employed with the subject with the approval with the engineer and general welding can use to repair broken and cracked with the weld string with the rivet the connection with the add metal with the existing steel metal broken cracked welds remove all the dirt with the bridge off the paint with the distance of the 2 inches from the damaged weld with the file with the grind down to the damaged weld to ensure that weld with the bond with the steel with the surface being welded together after the crack with the grind down with the crack welded until the crack is no longer visible. To check with the weld with the dye penetration. The inch of the crack that is complete ground out with the plate with the weld. Apply the paint with the corrosion protect the welded area. With the welded riveted connections. Remove all the dirt, the rust paint with a distance of 2 inches from the steel surface with the which for the weld is to be applied. Apply with the welds joined with the steel surface where the overstrip of the rivet the bolt with the can carry with the dead load. Was designed to carry the slab loads the overstrap of the rivets. Both can carry dead load of the weld is designed to carry the total load at any point of the corrosion, protecting the welded area. Adding metal to the trim, clean steel with the surface of the metal with the dab to remove the stuff of the damage of the corroded steel pores from the use of the weld. The fill crack the hole with the plate to remove the steel portion of the dab with the cover plate with the strength of the individual method with the cranks. Ensure the weld to penetrate the full depth of the craft of the hole to work well from the steel of the surface of the center of the hole to ensure that no voids are allowed in the weld. Remove the remove steel with the steel with the same strength with the edge with the torch with the edge with the cover the steel with ensure the edge of the ground smooth enough to ensure the good welding surface. When adding cover the plate the subject of the compression, they ensure the maximum clearing space. The distance less than 4,000 multiplied by the time T divided by the Fy where T is applied with a significant Fy the yield stress pound per square inch prevents local buckling of the attached blade with loading of the compression applied with the paint of the corrosion, particularly welded area and added steel. Riveted connections can be repaired with even many different methods. The most common repair requirements for losing the missing rivet is ensuring the connection of the repair techniques are as follows. Losing and missing rivet, the cleaning work of the surface of the plate with all missing rivets with a high strength of both the same side of the drawing and uptight with this will help the support of the connection during the repair of the operation. Tighten the rivet with the plate with the losing of the rivets of the high strength bolt with the renewed rivets working only with one rivet at a time to help the remain with the proper load distribution to the rivets. Remove the plate with the high strength bolt with the rivets high strength bolts with rivets one at a time. The engineer required the rivets of the repair work. For repair work, high-strength bolts can be substituted for the rivets. Check all the bolts and or rivets to ensure thickness. Any apply paint with the corrosion protector. Alright, under-strength connection. Several options for the under-strength connection. Rivets bolt can be added with the existing connection plate. Longer connection plate can be added with the more rivets, larger rivets with the bolt that substitute with the existing ones. And welds can be added with the connection with the plate with a significant strength that can carry the impact lab load with the total loading depending on the condition of the connection. Pin connections discover the rear and rear for the detention member of the military assault bridge of the repair, such as the 11 tubes or local buckling under the compression. Connections made with all the pits itself of the pin housing, the plate of the pin housing of the load must be shifted from the connection through the eave to the jack with the winches. A pinch can be removed from the housing, repair the housing eave of the weld, adding metal to the bill with the connection necessary to the pin, either by the replace the bell bolt, same style like with the pin connection should be replaced with the weld riveted connection with the function of the fixed connection of the bridge conserve the permanent structure. The threaded fasteners are primarily constricted from the tension rod. The typical problem of these fasteners involve the strip threads, rust, frozen shaft, or a broken thread shaft. The strip threads remove the thread of the shaft. The rethread is necessary to drill other out threads and the female housing place with the three-threaded shaft through the female housing, retightening the fastener of the bolt with the backside of the housing. Alright, 2. Rust frozen shaft. Cleaning the shaft of the housing and the external rough apply with the lubricating with the threads. Attempt to rotate the shaft of the refuse to rotate the fastener must be replaced with the cut of the thread portion of the shaft to remove the tension member. The supply with the new with the thread with the shaft of the tension shaft of the member. The remove the frozen the portion of the shaft of the housing with using the torch. Place the bolt within the backside of the housing. Pull the tension member. Type broken shaft splice with the shaft shown in Figure 11.3. 11.5. Repair the structural member. The structural member, steel member, the predominant classify the function with the perform the primary member, the tension member, the compression member. The aim column of the prepare the barrier of the structural member to discuss the following paragraphs. Bar. Structural bars can either be round, rectangular, or have the pin and thread connection to repair the bar itself with the barrier, counting the elongation, adding the metal with the eye, and the pin connection, splicing the bar with the repair brake, tightening adjustable blind turnbuckle with the cleaning the component attempt to tighten the bar with the adjustment cannot be made. The adjustment can be made with the eyes, and the turnbuckle can be added as follows. The adjustment with the eyes. Cycle the less than 1 inch pin connection can be trimmed to take out the slack between the pin and the eye with the temp bar with the trimming of the accomplished by removing the pin with the housing and placing the metal sleeve snugly around the pin and inside of the eye of the bar with the metal sleeve will take up the slack between the pin and the eye bar with the added turnbuckle. The turnbuckle to be added with the round bar with previously had no adjustable tension. Figure 11.3. But this is accomplished by cutting the section out of the extension bar with the threading of the both adjacent ends for the cut and screwing of the turnbuckle. Alright, your broken damaged bar. The repair the broken damaged bar as well. They add the turnbuckle with cut out the damage with the same technique we discussed in Figure 11.5 A1B. Splice bars, broken bars are spliced with welding bars are placed on both sides of the damage or shown Figure 11.3. Bolts or rivets that can also be used as desired. Reinforcement eye bars, loop bars. Eye bars are reinforced with the loop bars as the following manner. The relation of tension for the eye with the conservative add metal with the carrying live load with the impact loading only with a welded plate with an existing eye bar plate. Can be used with attached supplemental eye loop or forged bar with the reinforcement of the eye bar with a place looped around with the pin and weld with a steel plate. Figure 11.4 for a reapplied tension and paint repaired area. 11.3 repairing with the tie rods with the splice with tie rods corroded with the detailed splice with the weld the new rod spliced with the existing rod, and then show the 11.4 strengthened pin connection using a supplementary eye using a fill plate with the existing eye bar fill plate with the supplemental eye with the existing eye bar. A supplemental eye new plate existing bar section BB. supplemental on a new plate with the existing eye bar of the existing eye bar. Reinforcement of the eye bar with the steel plate with the gear over the 4 of the B. Part B, eye bars reinforce the steel plate following the procedure for the relief, the tension for the air of the plate for the supplement of the round of the existing eye bar. Slide the new plate between the air of the supplemental eye of the thickness of the new plate should equal to the supplemental of the eye, the width of the equal to the diameter of the pin with the approximate length of the air of the supplemental eye of the inch push widen into the width of the greater than existing eye bar with the length of the determined the loading carrying capacity to requirement of the weld of the supplemental eye of the new plate with the new eye bar together with the plate with the pin, reapply the tension pin. Repair. Hanger plate. The pin and the hanger connection, especially with the vulnerable corrosion, the freeze for the connection, increase the internal corrosion stress of the hanger with the cover the cracks to form. Hanger must be removed with the cleaning of the repair technique for the which can be used with the fashion temper with the hanger of the support of the dead load normally carried by the hanger. This can be accomplished as follows. Place the steel plate across the expansion of the rope. Surface of the plate should have the tool hold the running of the length of the dam and add the distance slightly greater than the flange with the girder apart. Run the two threaded of the bars cap to the net through the hole at the bottom of the girders and bottom flange. Attach the plate with the bars below the bottom flange, shove the knife on the top of the plate, withdraw the bottom plate up to the top, tight over the bottom of the flange, adjust the tension of the hanger to one of the temporary hanger with this plate with the connection with the clean and repaired flows. Attach the safety cable to the outside of the hanger with the remove the hanger with it from the pin. Clean the pin with the hanger through the repair with any of the damage of the component spot paint with the inside of the face for the hanger with the light layers of the paint with allow the time for the paint to dry while working on the pins. Lubricate the pin with the replace the hangers. Repeat the outside of the face of the hanger. Repeat the procedure for the inside hanger. Remove the temporary hanger cable with the most common damage with the curve of the fray with the steel wire with the fire forming with any of the fray requiring strength of the damaged position. A portion of the cable involved with the remove the tension of the cable. These 3 repairs technique for the use of the damaged cables. If the cable still remains adequate strength with the care of the design load, despite with the fray wire the clipped off of the fray wires, clean any of the rust debris from the cable, the point and the wrap of the damaged portion of the cable to protect the coating. If the cable requires strength, then replace the cable to run additional cable in parallel to the existing carry with the carrying the balance of the cut of the cable to be placed with the turnbuckle. Alright, roll section plate girder. The most common repair with the section of the repair with the weld with the strength of the section of the cover plate and some of the cable with the vent steel with the section of the repair with the technique called the structure steel framing. Straightening. Crack repair. The typical crack of the curve of the rolled section plate girder with the cover with the fatigue with the overloading cracks generally with the flange propagated through the crack with the end of the web. The properly repair with the crack with the must be first the close with the weld with the ply with the important closing the crack is to ensure the dead load with the properly transfer of the entire cross section with the steel member. Those various methods be used to the close of the crack. Blow test, tensioning of the member C pair of the 11-10, jack loading of the alpha member C pair of the 12-7. When he to cover the plate with the cross of the crack following the step of the weld covered plate with the member along with the one side with the crack of the heat cover the plate with expand the plate length to still heave while the opposite end of the plate member allow the plate to cool. With the contract of this will pull the crack together the weld the crack and apply with continuous fill the cover plate. Cover plate is relatively easily with the inexpensive technique to use the steel repair. It can be used with the bridge over the crack with the transfer of the dead load trim throughout the cross section of the steel member. Just add the strength into the member's cross section. Key to the limit of when adding the steel cover the plate with the method you would introduce the dead load strength with new material. Most common method to use the major member is to calculate the amount of the sorting required to produce the steel dead load strength of the existing member. That here our holes are drilled in the old member, the old new member, the such of the way the new member the short the drifting of the section hold the bolts together. Another method of heating of the cover of the plate after the welding one end of the welding expanded plate with this plate that's discussed as plate cools and contract strength will be added with the cover example the various use of the cover plate extending the existing cover plate bridge for the welding crack. Refer to paragraph 11.4a3. Building up the bottom of the flange of the weld with the member with increase the load capacity of the steel member, the bridging strength of the steel section with damage, corrosion, and collisions. 11.5. Rules of cover plates. When the cover plates must be removed. New consideration must be made with the plate with defective plate with one plate adequate size. The cover plate should be connected. Units fill it welds high strength bolt with the rivets. Whenever the exposed surface of the old plate with the rope enough the even the corrosion wear that should be replaced with new plates. Well, the cover plate should be sufficient thickness to prevent buckling with the intermediate fasteners. When the web is not originally spliced and resist movement, it must be spliced with an adding cover plate with the side plate with the fatigue of the crack with the inner core with the top of the weld at the end of the cover of the plate with the recommended of the bolting with the UV the cover of the plate ends. When the cover plate the UV the compressor remember the cover must be taken to maintain the symmetry with the section avoid electrical loading. Alright, for our alternative, the cover of the plate with the cover of the removal of the plate of the deck with the wood except for the unbalanced deck bridge of the flange section must be increased adding the full length of the longitudinal angle of the plate with the channel with just below the flange angles. First, remove the stiffener angle of the plate with the new stiffeners add the flange steel with the added the figure 11.6. Stiffeners are used to reinforce the cross of the beam with the acceptable weld buckling and intermediate and transverse stiffeners can concentrate a load greater than the allowable strength of the bearing stiffeners by buckling due to the bending of the longitudinal stiffeners. Immediate stiffeners, additional stiffeners may be added with the riveting high strength with the bolting of the weld angle with the metal plate the perpendicular with the top of the flange and web. The stiffener should be connected with the tension flange of the member of the bearing shaft. The stiffeners can reinforce the adding angle of the plate of the stiffeners, the adding the bridge bearing edge of the new part, but making them fit closely in the welding bearing edge of the flange. Alright, longitudinal stiffness may be added to the member of the bolting wedge longitudinally. Show the H-pile with the zone corrosion reinforcement plates welded over the zone corrosion, and then the some other use of the cover plates, the rolled steel sections. 11.6 show the Iowa dot method adding angles to the steel I-beam, new angles, existing cover, existing stringer, new angles. Longitudinal angle of the weld, the steel member, the pile with the steel pile with additional support protection, integral pile with jacket with the pad placed around the steel pile and the case member, the steel pile with the compost filling, fiberglass for Portland cement grout. After the concrete hardened, the fiberglass remained with this part of the jacket. The integral jacket provides protection with the steel pile with the bubble below the water. The pile so it's deteriorated. The point additional steel support where I cover the plate with the add with the pile prior to the jacket of the reinforced concrete it can be designed. Alright, procedure then installment of the integral pile jacket with the figure 11.7 the same after surface the clean the oil grease and debris dirt and cushion with the white metal of the plate with the pole pile jacket the form of the pile run the pile and ensure the same off the attached for the form of the seal of the joints epoxy bound and compound seal bottom of the form of the pile brace and band exterior form to figure 11 so the integral pile jacket seal piles hold the form of the plate with the D-wire of the fill over the bottom of the 6 inch for the form of the epoxy grout fill with the fill of the form of the 6 inch for the top of the Portland cement grout filler, the cap of the 6 inch for the fill over the epoxy grout, the space for the cap of the allow the water runoff, remove the extreme piping with banding with the cleaning off of the form of any deposit material. Flame strength. The flame strength has been used over the 40 U for the straight, but then with the beam with the line with the member of the proper connection. With the process involved with the V-heave, the triangle with the heave of the flange, with the conjunction with the jack with the device, with the shrink of the beam with the desired direction. The heat is not heated completely, nor is it going over the again with the cool of the base of the V-heave, but it should be not exceed with the 6 inches of wood warping the flange. The heat you with the process with the should not exceed 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. The most area of the probable, unless it will be maybe left. The usually necessary heat of the web with the damaged meat, the beam with the conjunction with the flange overheating the jack and cover the flange with extending with the yield strength with the move with the vertically and so with the desired horizontal direction. For this reason, the process should be conducted with the train with a qualified operative direct monitor. All he's jack plate for the is supervised by the program sequence events. Built up section. The section primarily they use the form of the truss systems. The cracks due to the fatigue overloading repair in the same manner. A rolled section to discover the previously a combination cover the plate plates angle with the other rolled section. Use the reinforced strength with the built up member. The additional member of the section, increase the cross-sectional area with the potential for the member, the produce the sliding of the ratio of the compression member, increase the sectional modulus of in the beam with extreme strength of the member, as shown in figure table 11.1. Alright, composite section. Composite action is opposed to the two load comparing past structural members of the concrete deck supporting steel with an integral connect with the effect of the single with the engineering shift non-relative to the slip curve between the slab of the beam with the beam's flange with the embed with the concrete shear with the connector with the D with the developed composite. This allows the action between the surface of these areas that require the prepare the composite braid with the concrete deck with the steel beam with the composite action between the deck and the beam. Your concrete deck damage for the fall of the degree of the bridge at load capacity for producing composite action over the concrete maintenance for the repair technique with this in chapter 13 should ensure the attack with the will carry the capacity of the forces required by composite action. Steel beam. Any correct damage with the steel section should be repaired. Paragraph 11.5D to ensure the correct composite action. Alright, so if your cover plate with the cover plate well with the compression member with the increase of the steel area with the reduced slenderness ratio end post of the bottom of the cords and through the process box and steel plates. And ensure the figure your angles description angles are added. The main existing plates are as added. The strength angle plates plates angle with the add with the existing member the redo for the slender ratio of the plate with the angle with the add with the provide central web of the existing compression member. Rolled steel, plate T section or with IW section, you would increase the steel area with the tension member. Alright, composite action. Several repair techniques exist if they address the local loss of the composite. Allow the non-composite action with the steel to be able to load neglected composite action angle to be added at the bottom of the top of the flange, cover the plate with the B added at the bottom of the flange over the stiffen and B with set buckling. Repair shear connector, the composite action shear with the action with the reactivated the shear connectors. Following the manner of the U of the bridge diagram, the plan to determine the location and type of the shear connectors. Remove the concrete around with the shear connector. Remove the system. Existing connectors replace with the weld. The stub of the welding is not feasible with the high strength bolt. That can be used with the shear stub. The demonstrated the figure 11.8. High steel strength. High strength in both may also be added with increase the composite action. Alright, your disc deck replaced with the deck completely replaced with the renew with the bottom between the concrete shear connected. deck with the new precast deck can be in play with the hole for the connector for the U for the ground and the hole for the round with the connection. Paragraph 11.9. Note that the composite action is normally designed for the allow the impact load unless the load, dead load is distributing during the concrete process. Figure 11H for the detail of the double noted shear connector. Steel grid deck. Steel grid decks. Steel decks are often used to increase the lava load capacity of the bridge for the use of the concrete deck for the primary maintenance of the repair problem. The steel deck for the deterioration exposed with the weather weld with the resistance repair with the corrosion over the weld with the same steel with the decking as with any other structure with the member of the concrete fill, any other method to prepare with the commonly used with the fill, with the partially fill with the steel grid connect the concrete fill with the grid access of the reinforced concrete deck of the steel girders provide steel reinforcement concrete provide the stiffness help the carry the load the repair of the technique several advantages for the increase of the deck strength with the reduction effect with the weathering limiting water penetration and support with the welded grid joint with the increase of the skid resistance welding wearing surface with the can be added to the deck with the provide additional skid weather resistance recommended wearing surface with the latex modified with the concrete 1 inch thickness asphalt 1 7 3/4 of an inch thickness for the concrete over the 1 3/4 of an inch thickness epoxy asphalt the 5/8 of an inch thick the exodermic deck with the deck the upper layer with the 3 inch maximum precast reinforced concrete decks planes and panels should be joined with the steel grading with the panel with the precast with the display bridge for the added with the existing steel deck using the shear connectors well as steel grid. Alright, the embank placement procedure file with the weld is shear with the stud connected with the steel grid, the proper recap the concrete deck panel with a hole with the shear stud with the thin metal with the wood and carrot board plate with the diameter greater than the precast stud hole with around the stud plate with the precast concrete deck panel with the steel girder throughout the stud hole with the seal the cracks between the concrete panels. Section 3, member replacement and 11-6 tension member. Any tension member that must be trained with a temporary cable support system as the removal of the damage of the figure 11.9, attachment of the cable to the umbilical system, report with the frame of the pair with the member that is replaced with the transfer load carried by the same member, still member of the cable, the tightening of the turnbuckle, remove the plate with the damage of the steel member, the remove of the temporary with the cable support. Alright, 11 step the compression member of the column, the primary method of compress with the joint with the replacement block with the brace and plate with the steel and the wooden section parallel to the member that remove the jack load off the damage, remember the plate for the load and steel shim with the temporary support with the transfer load with the temporary support. In some cases the shim is mainly driven between the temporary support with the frame with the transport load with the cable support system member on the temporary support with the frame can be used with the hole with the members in play for during the replacement operation. Remove the damaged compression member, then remove the shim within temporary support. 11 and 9 show the method of relieving the strength and tension members, show the cable to 4 wraps and one turnbuckle per each cable loop. The cable from the wraps is side of the main cable. The cable to 4 wraps minimum burn hole within the lateral plate for the cap locking for the cable with clear flange and floor beam. 1/2 inch round wood block cable to 4 wraps. Alright, 11 and 8, the beams. The additional replacement of the string with the normally performed with the junction for the replacement of the deck. If the deck is not removed, it must be replaced under the bridge for the bridge beam replacement. Method will depend upon whether the beam deck system is composite or non-composite. Non-composite beams placed with the jack on the deck with the onto the beam, but they're not being replaced with the deck with the deck off the beam. Then may remove the beam with the repair with the damage off the beam. With the beam may be cut with the facility. The remove the beam may be jacked out of the position, lifted out of the truck with the U with the jack lower the beam. The lift over the jack. The replacement beam to be in play with the lift over the truck of the cable shift. The hole must be cut and drilled into the deck of the run with the cable through the position of the beam of the bearing plate. Jack with the jack of the deck down with the new beam. Check with the distress of the beam of the deck. Remove the jack. Temporary support to prepare any of the hole of the deck. Composite the beam figure 11 to 10. Use the jack for the composite. Lift the composite beam with the bearing born or cut the lower portion of the beam left from the bottom of the flange. The thick top flange. Grind the cut into the air of the top flange. Smooth weld and the new string with the old string top flange continuity. Alright, section 4. Upgrading steel bridges creation with the composite action. Overall strength with the new composite and non-composite string of the configuration can be greatly increased with the make of the deck and the string with the work together as a single unit composite action. Your concrete deck. The condition of the deck determines how they obtain with the composite action between the deck with the string with the concrete with the deck does not need the replay with the create with the composite action between the deck with the string with the inch with the shear with the connect with the stuff with the curve with the interface with the tube material with the deck is badly deteriorated. Remove the deck with the placing the place the shear connect for the high strength of the bolt as discussed in section 2 of the chapter. Another alternative recasting of the deck of the precast with the concrete panel with the U with the bridge decking with the figure 11 the method the U with the bridge with the interruption traffic by allowing the upgrade with the conducting in the stage not have to wait for the recast the deck with the cure. Steel grid deck, the very amount of the strength of the B added with the strength of the welding grid with the top of the flange with the string of the strength with the increase of the base with the stiffness this can be generated by the deck with the resist the bending lift the greatest with the concrete would act the concrete deck would provide interface with non-normal achieved with the shear connectors. 1110 the post tensioning. Post-tension can be applied with existing bridge barrier with the objective to be relative to the tension over strength with respect to the surface of the load of the fatigue allowable over strength is reduced the reverse undesirable to displacement, adding ultimate strength to an existing bridge. The post-tensioning following the established with the structural line of the design principle, the design procedure for the post-tensioning with the composite string of the valve determine the same with which the bridge is to be strengthened and load allowable stress. B determines load and load fraction. The string of the dead load, longitudinal dead load, live loads, impact load, compute moments of all critical location of the dead load, longitudinal dead load, and live impact loading. Alright, compute the section property required with the compute the strength to provide relief of the post-tension all critical locations, design post tension the tending force over the tending length, centrally distribution axial forces moments of the tending length, and then it shows your equations. Alright, we're going to skip down to the H, check with the strength of all critical locations, design the anchor of the bracket, the typical one shown figure of the 12, the extreme of the shown of the bracket shown would be 2 feet long. Check with the other design pack with the beam shear with the shear with the connect with the fatigue with the deflection of the beam flexural strength with the other required. 11 truss system. The system will be strengthened by adding supplementary member of the chain stiffer system with superposition with any other system onto the existing strength with the cave with the dead load with the increase with the super strength with the must be checked with the ensure with the adequate with the new loading requirements. Adding supplementary member the technique the most often applied with the Warren Pratt and truss is figure 11-13. Most commonly used with the supplementary member to reduce the unbraced the length of the top core. Plane with the trough of the additional lateral bracing may require with the effective length of the plane perpendicular with the trough of the load capacity for the top of the core with the compression can be improved to 15 to 20% of the use of the technique. Alright, B. Doubling the trough. The steel arc superposition with the thorough trough. For thorough trough, the method of upgrading the truss bridge for the reinforced the existing trough with the steel arc with the figure 11-14 and the lightweight with the superimposed onto the trough to carry the power of the dev live load normally carried by the truss alone. Truss provide a lateral support to the arc, therefore the two methods of attaching steel arc with the trough of the valve method may require the end panel vertical strength to ensure the adequate lateral support of the arc. The method one with the existing floor beam with the string with the assumed with the adequate care with the increased live load in this. Alright, 11-12 the design post tensioning. You have the second, third tension, 1 1/2 inch diameter of the 3/4 of the top of the bottom plane, center of the tendon. Approximately 4 feet from the support of the anchor, minimum of 6 feet from the support of the last row of the bolt holes. Oversized hole of the socket, job of the 2 inch and thing with a greater 50 of the brackets welded from the 2x4, 6x6 and 3 1/4 with a 36 inch and steel lines with an inch for the A32.5 bolts. Of the existing truss, modified truss, your new hanger arch on the floor beams, typical existing floor beams, typical. The dash lines show the component of the arc suspension scheme, and the full lines show the existing truss components. Arcade the arc support system and tap with the trough of the existing truss vertical with the conservation with the design include with the dead load of the arch of the truss along with the full load with the method of the existing floor being trimmed that will not additionally floor beams midpoint with the existing floor beings increase with the capacity with the stringers. Existing stringers can be analyzed with the 2-span continuous beam with the new floor with the beam to provide with the mid-span with support. The hangers are attached to the new floor beam with the arch with the connect with the existing vertical with the determination with the load carrying capacity of the reinforced system. They analyze the arc and should be constructed simply with a 2-span continuous string to provide with the loads with each with the alternative to these methods. The arch can be post tension along with the bottom of the core. Post tensioning will reduce horizontal force of the transverse arc and the buttons. Superimposing the belly bridge with the superimposing belly trusses onto the pony through the truss bridge with temporary upgrading method. Normally with belly trusses are a few feet longer than the existing truss and support with the button of the belly truss is connected with the hang with the existing floor beams. Additional floor beams may be added with the connect with the belly truss with the string with the neck with the hang with the bolts are tightened with the existing truss that should be moved some of the movement indicating complete interaction between the belly truss with the existing truss with figure 11-5. The belly 11-15 the belly truss is placed within inside of the existing truss and the block of the brace against the existing truss to provide with the lateral bracing of the belly truss. They may restrict the sidewalk of the roadway width as designed with the belly bridge truss to provide in the Army Technical Manual 5.3.1.2. Design procedure with the upgrade with the valve determine additional moment of the capacity of the required with the belly truss determine the initial belly truss of the assembly beneath the requirements moment and capacity of the Army Technical Manual 5.3.1.2. Put the existing truss of the beam with the equivalent flexural rigidity replace with the selected belly truss with the beam with the equivalent flexural rigidity. Consider additional beam with it between the existing beam with the string of the inadequate connection of the belly truss with the old with the new floor beams. Connect the 2 truss rigidly with the point of the application of the load. The deflected simultaneously equal amount of the loads carried with each of the truss can be determined based on the defective value of the flexion rigidity of the belly. Inadequate select another truss configuration greater moment of capacity. Check the required shear capacity. Design hangers, lateral bracing, bearing support with support bearing supports are used with the figure 11-5. 15. valley truss. There are no additional dead dough in the structure. Show the 11.5/15 show the reinforcing pony truss of the valley truss, the timber blocking floor beam valley truss, the tie rise toe top of the roadway, existing pony truss bridge shown in the dotted lines, and then added valley trusses timber blocking. Chapter 12: Timber Bridge Maintenance and Repair Upgrade.